Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we are playing Planet Zoo, a 6-year-old game now, but still an excellent one from Frontier Developments. Since I've had it, I've only ever really done one park and that was on challenge mode, so I thought I would jump back into the channel with a bit of a sandbox mode park. It'll be not really themed around anything in particular. Just a bit of a hybrid mashup. We'll use the different pieces we have. I have a couple of the DLCs, but not a ton. And today, though, we're just going to get it started with a bit of an entrance. So right here, getting a work on the entrance building. I wanted something that kind of overhung the entrance, so people had to walk through it to get into the park. Right now, just playing around with that middle section there. We went with some brick foundation, and then here working out what I wanted to do with the walls. Tried out a few things, and in the end we settled with the limestone pieces. So wrapping them all the way around here on this side. Realized I could just copy across, made my life a lot easier. I'll forget to do that a lot during this video, and here just working out what kind of roof we wanted. So with this return to Planet Zoo, I'll be looking to upload probably just once a week over the weekends with the time that I have to record and edit and get all of these things out. So at this stage, we'll be aiming for that uploading schedule with Planet Zoo and this brand new zoo. So hopefully you enjoy, and I hope to see you all for the next one when that comes around. But sit back and enjoy what we have so far. I'm rambling a little bit, I haven't done this for a little while. So we're working on now the second story of the video, second story of the building, sorry. Working out, I definitely wanted to use some of the glass pieces in here. Realized right now that that wall was around the wrong way, fixed that. Brought the glass down here, had to flip that around, make sure that was in the right place, just to create this sort of grand entrance, very large sort of building that could be seen. Here, playing around a little bit with the roofs. Wanted a bit of an awning. Decided I didn't like the flat awning. Wanted to go with a angled one, and then have it so that it wasn't all the way down, just this sort of half overhang, and have the rest of it into the building. Then working out what to do with the roofs on each end. That didn't work. Thought we might just go with some flat roofs over here. And that is what we end up doing. So now with that, just trying to get the wall pieces in. That was a bit finicky. You can see that there's sort of a little bit of overhang there. I don't think we actually go back and fix that, but maybe something to look for next time with some detailing. Getting these pieces in was very finicky around the edge, and particularly underneath. The game's not particularly friendly when you're working at these low angles. Then going back and just filling in the rest of the wall with the 1 meter pieces. And it was starting to come together. Just having a look under there, and now finally the roof for the second story. So originally I was going to go for like this sort of flatter roof with a bit of slope, but nothing major. Like that. Had a look from the ground, decided it looked too flat, looked a bit weird, so decided to go somewhere different and just have a single slope from the back all the way up to the top, so that you can't really see the roof from the front, but that the front of the building is this very large, imposing sort of feature as you enter the park. And then playing around with these pieces to do the sides was also very finicky. Took me a little while, a bit frustrating there. And it also overhang over the roof, but we do fix that later. Again, I've got them on the wrong side of the grid. Eventually we figure that out as well and manage to get the rest of the building in. No decoration yet at this stage, just playing around with the light, couldn't see it very well. Now I wanted this entrance to be encased in a river essentially, and from there maybe have different smaller rivers branching off, but have all of the waterways in the park sort of connected to make it feel like there was an existing waterway that the park was built on. So encasing the island, well, encasing the opening as an island, and then just playing around a little bit with what I wanted to do here. Took the water out and get this sort of bridge over into the rest of the park. This itself If you've ever played Planet Zoo, you'll know how finicky the pathing system can be. Got that in. Recolored all of this with the sandy texture. A lot of editing had to go in there because, as I said, getting all the pathing to work was very finicky. And you can even see that there's some odd placed curbs there. Notice them. Notice some grass there that I didn't want. Tried to take them out to get rid of those curbs. Think I pretty much got it, but then as soon as I did that, then these pieces wouldn't go back in, even after flattening. Eventually we got there. The water level had to come down a little bit, but that's okay. And we got that path in there eventually. Then working out what I wanted to do with a bit of a bridge. We ended up going for these walls, which I really like the texture of. The only problem was that because the path was on 10 meters, that this was 30 meters away. And I just could have dropped the grid to 2 meters, but I found a far less practical solution, which was to just build the things as 2 separate buildings. Maybe not my smartest piece of Planet Zoo, but we got there in the end. Trying to use these pillars as sort of bridge supports, and then deciding what I wanted to do with the paths. Decided I didn't like those walls there. Moved that over to try and center it. Probably need to move that back, because what you'll find in the end is that I then took those pieces out. Looking for some different pillars, playing around with some arches. In the end, we just go with the wall toppers here eventually, and they work out quite nicely. But the issue is that that piece is now, I don't think, actually centered. Thought about changing the size of the path. In the end, we just decided to build a completely separate building just to make sure that it all worked as we wanted. Getting the wall toppers in first this time, and then bringing these over. That again was a bit finicky, so I've edited that out, but you can see there we've got that. It's not quite finished yet. Obviously we need some fencing and a bit more decor over here, but for now we have this sort of entrance bridge as well. Was just looking at a few of the different fences, decided I wasn't keen on any of them at this stage, so we'll leave that for the next episode when we do our next project. For now, I wanted to get a bit of nature and pretty up this area. Put some rocks around the edges to sort of make this feel like a creek, even though it's supposed to be like a large river. But I find that the rocks always, and some plants always, make it look a bit more natural, which is quite nice. So just meshing in some different rocks here as well, and some plants of course, to make this look a little bit more natural and not so much like the beach of an ocean. I find when I'm playing, the little tips like this, just adding some plants and rocks can really brighten up an area and make it look a lot less plain or blatantly man-made when you've got these sort of things. And then I decided I did want some mossy rocks in there as well, although I dismissed them earlier. And I think that just having this really livens up this little waterfront. Figured I'd steal it, just flip it over there. This last bit was coming off a bit, so just rotate that round, and all of a sudden I feel like these waterfronts come to life a lot more and feel a lot nicer. And then I wanted to do something a little bit different over here, so it didn't feel like I just mirrored them. So we left this bit blank and we threw in a tree. So we're testing out a lot of different trees, and we eventually decided to go with the willow, because why not? It's a waterfront. And then just throwing some different plants around as well, again to just make it feel a bit more alive and natural. And then some rocks just over here by the path, just a mossy rock. Coming back to the building in a second, just changing the terrain slightly there so it doesn't feel so flat. Again, just another little thing that can liven some things up, playing around with the terrain. Feet tools as well, but decided we'd just stick with the grass for now. Back to the building, I decided I didn't like how plain this was looking, this top section. So wanted to get just some support, some structure, some detailing on it essentially. And I went with these concrete pillars as well to act as like supports. Again, I find that just breaking up the plainness of some buildings can really make a difference to how they come out, and I was really happy with how these come out. So if you are struggling and if all of your buildings are looking a bit the same, this is a tip that I find. This was a big thing for me when I first started playing these sort of games, was to change up the materials that are used, not have everything looking so samey. Then on the back here, again, just wanted to do the same thing, wrap it in these concrete pillars. At this stage, didn't do the top there because the windows were going all the way up to the top, but we did end up changing that. And then just doing the same thing on the sides. It didn't quite line up, as I said, but I think this was really important to sort of hide the overlap between the building and the roof, and I think it looks much better now with that change. Wanted to do the same down here with some brick pillars. I probably didn't do this in the most efficient way, but I find that this makes it look a lot nicer as well by just bringing this up the side. I end up going along the top as well, although not on the front, although I'm not so sure that is as critical because you can't really see. Then I decided to do the tops, when if I'd done that earlier I could have saved myself quite a bit of time, but just getting back into it, having to remember all the little building shortcuts and tips that I've forgotten along the way. It's been a long time since I've played this game. It's been a long time since I've done any sort of post commentary on anything as well. So, and then finally over here, decided I wanted a curb, and decided I wanted a rock curb, which I feel again is just one of those things that just makes the area feel a bit more natural. Could have gone for some fencing, but I couldn't quite work out what I wanted, so I figured with the river around that would be alright. Saw I'd already had a rock curb, put it in, decided I didn't like it, put in this one. So we went with this new style, and then I don't put these all the way around because then it looks really like the same layout. It is, I mean, there's quite a bit of it. You can see that it does look in some places quite obvious, but I find that if you leave a few gaps and then just throw in some extra sort of rocks, some bigger rocks, some different types of rocks, it does break it up and it makes it feel less like just cut and paste, even though that's exactly what it is. So just some different rocks to kind of break up the area, and then I decided I was alright with this extra style, which I felt broke it up quite nicely as well. So there was the rock path and some bigger rocks at the entrance, just for something different as well. And that was all the curbing and pathing we did in this area. Then I wanted to get some nature so that this area wasn't so bland. Threw in a few different trees. Probably could have decorated this a bit more, but I also didn't want it to be too busy, and I also don't want to overload the park with thousands of assets, lest my computer not cope later down the line. So got our trees in, and then just breaking it up with some different... I was looking at plants first, and then I decided I'd just go with some bushes, like we had down by the waterfront. Lots of ground coverage in there. And then after we'd done that, we went for the rocks. The rocks I wasn't happy with as we put them in, because they did feel a little bit plain and out of just kind of sticking out. So we went back and put some extra plants around them after the fact. But I feel like having this with the water and the rocks as well really ties this whole area together. It really feels quite natural. And encloses the area as well, so this entrance feels like its own sort of self-contained space. Here I was just playing around with some lettering. I wanted to put a sign up, hadn't decided on a name yet, so at the moment it just says zoo, but once we work out a name for the zoo, that will be there. Having a look at the back, decided I wanted the cladding along the top, so I moved the windows down so that I could do that, and I feel like it looks much better after that. Bring in the small walls to enclose the space, enclose the windows, and then again could have just copied and pasted from the bottom there and just dragged it up to the top. Was trying to get some sun on the back but couldn't, just because of the orientation, and instead I brought this up and rotated it instead of just doing what was probably the correct thing to do. Just having a look there, and then just thought we would put some benches and bins in this entrance area. Not that I think anyone's really going to stop here, but just to sort of bring the area to life. I'm not sure I'm 100% happy with this. It could have some extra detailing or different path textures, but there you go. There is the entrance plaza for this brand new zoo done. We'll be back next week with the next part of the park, where we work on the bridge and sort of the main plaza as you come into the park, and maybe our first exhibit. As I said, be looking to upload probably once a week, so if you would like to catch the next episode, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.